Gopal Majumder, and right now.
So what is fintech in India?
So somebody is working on behalf of us to keep us safe.
Absolutely.
The proudest moment for us. Very proud to be part of this.
Enumerated everything in a very beautiful way. So thank you so very much. Hi everyone. This is Professor Vikram here from BNMIT Institute of Technology, Business Management Department. I have over here Mr. Gopal from the RUGU Fintech company. So he's gotten over 2 decades of experience in this sector. So welcome, sir, to BNMIT College.
Thank you so much.
So what does fintech in India teach about financial inclusions?
Right. Thanks, Prof. Vikram, for this question. So before I sort of throw some light on that, I'd like to again have a small round of intro of myself. So I'm Gopal Majumder. I'm right now taking care of the business in RUGU. And I've been part of this fraternity for the 2 decades, as you said, and has seen fintech from close quarters, has been involved into very germination of stuff like UPI and all. So I've been fortunate to be part of those revolutions and all. I'm very happy to be hosted by you today, and would be glad to share my take on those points. The first question you had, that what does
Financial inclusions.
fintech have done for the financial
Inclusions in our country, yeah.
I think this is probably the proudest moment for us, for all of us, as Indian, what Indian fintech has done to the diaspora.
Absolutely.
Indian fintech has literally revolutionized every facets of it. We have been seeing fintech for quite a while. I would say probably more than 2.5 decades in multiple parts of the world. Obviously, most of the technological innovations have been spearheaded by United States to a large extent. That's what sort of a mindset we still somehow used to carry. But I think fintech is only one outlier in the whole macro game of the world in both tech and fin, is that where India showed the path and led the path by far. I mean to say, UPI kind of revolution and impact India has created. It's never heard before, never imagined before. It has happened as a tangible, palpable reality.
Absolutely.
And the best part, that's not the best part. The best part, whatever India could do on the fintech revolution, they always kept the financial inclusion at the very heart and soul of it. So that sort of change you never come across, right? And obviously you got to have those macro situations also to propel such changes, right? You need to have such a huge consumer population, which we have. You have got to have a very strong, vibrant young population, which you have. All those macro parameters have been favoring us, macroeconomic parameters. And obviously, it has been a blessing for us. But still, that blessing had to be carried into action in order to benefit the underprivileged or unprivileged section of our society. So I think Indian fintech revolution is not a stretch. I think it is synonymized with Indian financial inclusion. Both are, I think, the obverse side of one single coin. And obviously, events like UPI, events like other JAM and PMJDY and all these things, definitely there's a different catalyzing moments. It has catalyzed a whole event to a further exploration and all. But still, this had to be done with a lot of heart, a lot of passion, a lot of spirit, because if you are creating something which does not have a societal value, which does not uplift the underprivileged, then those changes will be limited only the creamy layers of it.
Absolutely.
And India as a nation can't afford to have that.
Absolutely.
Right? So I think that way, and I'm saying this keeping China in mind, I'm saying this keeping other advanced economies in mind. I think the kind of balance India has poised between financial inclusion and fintech revolution, I think it would be a case study for long future to study, because to an extent, if you create a value chain, if you unlock something new, you generally have a tendency to unlock for the creamy layers, as I said.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's how we, the capitalist, I will not go there, there are a lot of multiple schools of thought, and that is how it has been evolved so far. But for the first time, India showed that some sort of revolution can be brought, keeping financial inclusion at the very heart of it. So whatever UPI has done, in short, has benefited the most hardworking farmer working in the scorching sun, and he has been able to put his crops out there in a marketplace where he gets money real time in a fair, transparent way. There is no cash, there is no sort of leakage in the whole revenue.
Correct.
So what else he probably or she can
The whole world is looking at India.
I think that's why it is a standout. So financial inclusion for such a path-breaking revolution,
Absolutely.
nobody could imagine. And why this imagination is difficult and taxing and costly, because it takes a village to implement that. And for the population of 1.4, 1.5 billion,
Absolutely.
you can understand the complexities. We have such a diverse democracy.
Culture.
Yeah, we have a strong opinion for all. So I would say that probably whatever we achieved, we are not realizing now how significant it is.
Yeah.
But definitely the next generation will understand that.
Yes. Absolutely.
Right.
Second is, how do our students need to equip in regards to the changing banking, entire structure in regards to the fintech industry? So how do our students need to equip themselves? Because the landscape in regards to fintech is changing at a very fast pace, more than what it has done in the 90s or the early 2000s. So how do our students need to equip?
Good pragmatic question. I keep telling this to my team. I think what's more important than your capability or your credentials or intent. I think here in this case also, for the budding students, for the students who have already taken up such courses or going to take up such courses, I think one thing got to keep in mind, that you got to be embracing all the opportunity to learn coming on our way. You got to be extremely inquisitive and curious in a way that you do not have this old orthodox school of thought that I'm from this domain, hence I can't learn that, right? That's the first sort of impediment, and sort of I would say the fettering factor for that. So first of all, you got to keep that out of the mind completely, right? It is not going to be the case, and to be very ironically put it, a lot of fintech revolutions has been done and will be done in future. People who has a zero connection with fintech, people had a zero connection with technology, people has a zero connection with finance. So it is not like that. It is only for those privileged or so-called privileged people who have studied those relevant streams or disciplines or academics or something like that. It's a new thing in many ways, but the most important attitude is to learn and open for the learning moments and those eureka moments, and then you assimilate those eureka moments and convert into your action. Now that's the more of attitude part of it, more of intent part of it. From the capability standpoint, I think the basic ingredient for being fully prepared for this is to see what has happened, is to study what sort of body of work already has been laid out there, right? So we did talk about UPI sometime back.
Absolutely. So
There are so many other examples.
Aadhaar is there.
Fintech is, I mean to say, to be very honest, fintech is there from 1980s.
Absolutely.
But there are certain events which has been seminal in nature of late. We can definitely talk a lot about that. But what is thematically common in the whole stream of things is that attitude and that learning what is happening, keeping a track of it, how these things is evolving, right? What is fintech actually solving for, and what are the direct beneficiaries, what are the indirect beneficiaries, what are the regulatory compliance angles attached to it, right? So there are a lot of things. It's a very dynamically evolving topic, right? Whatever the fintech some key fundamental understanding what we carried in our mind 4 or 5 years back, a lot of things has proved to be wrong. So a lot of hypotheses will be proved wrong. A lot of hypotheses will be proved right eventually. But the most important part is an attitude part, and you can't ignore each and every event. This is something I very oft quoted word borrowing from Einstein, that it is an attitude that whether you accept everything as a miracle or not. And so it has been a miracle in all possible truest sense. So in order to do justice to that, you got to see what has happened historically, the evolution of it, how did it happen, the little bit of nuance and panache to it. But the most important point is that attitude for learning and assimilating, and not getting bogged down with the fact that just because you're not gone to B school, or you're not done a course on finance, or you're not done coding in your life, or you're not been a technocrat, you are not eligible to participate in this game. That's the first thing got to throw out of your mind.
That's one.
Right? As a student, or as a professional, doesn't matter. I think this attitude has to be there.
For everyone who is intending to
Absolutely.
wear multiple hats, rather.
Yeah. The world is open for all. For all. That's a true power of democracy, right? So we got to have that. And once you have that, the rest, everything falls in place. I'm not saying when like that people have a right set of mind, right frame of mind, right attitude, has been lacking privilege to give an opportunity to disrupt or to be part of the bandwagon. That's all you want at the end of the day.
Yes.
You want your seniors, you want your mentors to give you the opportunity, open the door for you. But you got to be there, present, right at the door. Once the door is open, then so they can run or leap. So that's an attitude. That's more of an intent than capability.
Yes, absolutely. A wonderful explanation of the question, sir. Thank you so much. What are the challenges in the current fintech industry and what can one do to mitigate the risks involved in it?
This is, again, philosophically, I have a very, probably this way. So I think wherever there is a word called challenge or there is a word called crisis, let's accept there is a word called opportunity as well.
Absolutely.
Right? So it's a flip side. How do you see that? It's all mindset. So the moment you have a challenge, that means there is a solution to it.
Absolutely. There's an opportunity to be grabbed up.
And I think I'm a very avid follower of what happens in fundamental science. I think the only philosophy the scientists live the whole life is that those hunt for those challenges. If there is no challenge, there is no fun. There is no discovery. There is no advancement of humanity. That is how the linked is at highest level. But coming back to the question, the challenge is not a again challenge per se, but it is a challenge which will be mitigated, which will be zeroized, which will be done and dusted. From that standpoint, I can tell you one of the natural byproduct or derivative of the so-called challenges is the rise of fraud. So when you create something, it's like classic old essay, right? We used to write, science is blessing or a curse. Right? So same thing, right? So once something gets stronger day by day, like as strong as fintech, as strong as UPI, then got to have that there will be some of the things where evil-minded people, the fraudsters in this case,
scams,
will create something which will not unleash the fullest potential. And we have seen that. We have been seeing it from day one. Nowadays, ironically speaking, if before you launch any particular use case or any particular interesting revenue model or any particular business in that case, you start getting the adverse side of it before. So it happens. But again, the winning formula is intent plus capability, because the capability side, one great things in our side is our the time progression of the time dividend of all the technological assets. I used to keep tell to the young people, when I started my life, I started as a coder. I enjoyed coding a lot. I used to code in C++ and some other languages, which was very nascent those days. And after that, I saw the industry moving completely to the Java and that side of it. Nowadays, people are coding only about those machine learning friendly language. So this is a technology affair which will keep evolving, keep changing. You can't stop that. And that is only the grammar of this thing. It will evolve. So the technology is something which is common denominator, I would say. But what makes a technology useful in this case is to have the right use case solving for, and especially for the frauds and the effective management of fraud and risk. I think the artificial intelligence and the machine learning and the deep learning has been a great asset. They have been able to handle this fraud, which otherwise very difficult or almost impossible to tackle with, because there are a lot of multiple moving factors, a lot of hidden variables. Right? It is humanly impossible to track all those things by normal human intelligence or programmer's intelligence. So there comes those machine learning and artificial intelligence, which has propelled the next notch and all. But again, this is not a deterrent. This is just a crisis and hence opportunity. What happens the moment you solve any particular these such angles, the asset which you create at the end of the day with the help of technology, that becomes a case study for the rest of the world to follow.
Absolutely.
So if you see a lot of frauds has been mitigated in a way without any manual intervention. So somebody is working on behalf of us to keep us safe. And that somebody will keep changing. Today you're talking about AI, ML. There will be advancement of this form as well in days to come, right? So, but I think, again here, this is not a crisis or unmitigated crisis. The crisis is very much challenged, debated, mitigated, and probably zeroized to an extent. That's why you can see UPI has lodged 131 billion transactions last year. A country of 1.4 billion
4 billion, yeah.
has lodged a transaction of 131 billion transactions. This year we are trying, in all likelihood, it will be more than 200 billion. So you cannot create such numbers until unless there is a very effective fraud prevention or other adverse angles mitigations, right? You can't run fraud exponentially higher in commensurate to your volume or growth, right? So it has been definitely addressed, mitigated. It will be. I'm not discussing here, because if we double click on each item, will be a topic on its own.
Yes.
How it has happened. But again, there is no as such challenge which should stop us thinking from innovating. I think the only thing which keep us driving is that mindset. That is, everything comes on our way has to be battled in a way that, with the help of technology, with the help of right business case, with the help of right use case, with the help of right consumer target audience, you end up creating a value chain at the end of the day which has some societal impact. Don't create something only for own, which is not going to help anybody. So I think that already has been unlocked, discovered by our young community, and very proud to be part of this community, because most of the disruption has happened for the people who are younger in age than us, or probably the same age. So that's a very promising point, that people are actually thinking like that every now and then.
Thank you so very much, sir, for your wonderful discussion about fintech as a topic. There's a lot to discuss on this, but you've enumerated everything in a much very beautiful way. Thank you so very much. Good to be having here, Mr. Majumder. Thank you so much.
So much, Professor Vikram.
Thank you, viewers, for giving time to watch this video. So there is more content coming in, wherein you all can watch such insightful videos. So thank you so very much.